victory for Alexander. Alexander, curtains with bedspread too much, and a brand new Timex watch for Alexander. Alexander, I tell she I see him long time, 'cause I just hardly go online. She say, Kenny, don't try that, you and Alex close. Anytime I can't find him, it's you that are checking first. She tell me I want Alex, I want Alex, I want Alex, I can't do without Alex. Alex makes me shiver, Alex kiss me lover, Alex kiss me tonic, he do make me get sick. Oh, she tell me I want Alex, I want Alex, I want Alex, I can't do without Alex. Oh, I do. I take some time off from me work to help me wife clean up. Me paintbrush I can't find it, the neighbor don't have it. Immediately I went down by she, Joan, I want me paintbrush please. I want me brush, give me brush. I want me brush, give me brush. I wanna paint the living room, I wanna paint the bedroom, I wanna paint the kitchen, I wanna paint everything. I want me brush, give me brush. I want me brush, me same old brush. Yeah, man. My friends and family just come to drink up and have fun. Curtains ready to go up, still have to go and shop. Parents I coming early morning, Joan, I want me paintbrush please. I want me brush, give me brush. I want me brush, give me brush. I wanna paint the living room, I wanna paint the bedroom, I wanna paint the furniture, I wanna paint everywhere. I want me brush, give me brush. I want me brush, me same paintbrush. If you see she over the ocean.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. Sorry for the tardiness. I want to say up front one time that you'll only get us on YouTube tonight because there was some glitch again with the system, boy. But of course, determination and grit and commitment will, of course, prevent one from, of course, not having a program tonight. Especially, excuse me, when I have been so excited to come on 1 and 2 at the level of potpourri, nonsense, potpourri of nonsense. Should I say regular potpourri, because potpourri means a small amount, but regular potpourri of nonsense talking that was exhibited by the Prime Minister this evening. And the fundamental question that he said he doesn't know is that when the journalist asked the question, but listen, did we quote wrong this particular section that deals with, of course, the Americans engaging where it is appropriate or when it is appropriate to use Trinidad and Tobago and or Guyana as a staging point for, of course, for any kind of military intervention? He said he don't know. Print what you want. Well, hold your tail, Rowley. They had a right to do so because it didn't make any sense. You told them when they asked you to call Hines, but Hines can't be found. So all you're playing, making the disappearing act. Well, I tell all you, disappear permanently now. Disappear, Rowley, permanently. You and your bunch of nincompoops, asinine, specimen, lying, and of course, people who are determined to deprive the poor and take from the vulnerable and unsuspecting. Hold your tail where that all the same damn thing. Now it's your turn now. It was Im's birth last week. Now it's your turn now to just play the ass with people's mind. Where you feel it is? Where you feel it is? I want Laventille and these places to understand. Give the PNM a lesson of their life. You have the opportunity. The power is in your finger. Nobody never tell you that before. But you have it in your finger. Lennox Smith is not important. What I will do, however, is guide, advise, solicit, beseech, and tell you that once you deal with the PNM as Tobago people did, you have everything to, of course, come to you, because a new government, a different party, the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bissessa will be. Don't let them tell you about what texture of hair and color of skin. No, we've been through that, and we have been betrayed after betrayal after betrayal. And of course, you had to be a damn fool. Let me say it raw, a damn ass, to be told over and over that you are not good. You are no good. You cannot meet the grade. And then you have people, because they tell you that, listen, somebody give me a hand of banana. Of course, that is fake. But let's assume they said that. And I'm a black man and a proud man. And of course, what? And I ain't no monkey. Hold your tail, you gorilla finish, Rowley and others. Take it how all you want it. I was extremely annoyed. But once again, let me say, of course, welcome to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, wherever you are streaming on the world web. A pleasant good day to you. And don't forget, of course, we are only on. If I have to go on Facebook now, I will have to, of course, to cut off and reboot. I don't want to take that chance. So we have to work with only YouTube tonight. So just bear with me. I'm seeing it, of course, there, so I know that we are on and we are kicking and vibrant. We'll have a wonderful program tonight as usual. As I, of course, I'm stressing tonight how Laventille has been able to, of course, take itself from the rut that the PNM has put us in. And there are elements inside of there that are prepared, of course, to do what is required to lift it out of the quagmire and the morass that is found itself. And of course, into, of course, what I consider to be mainstream Trinidad and Tobago society, so that we can be productive and we can, of course, by extension, contribute to the economic welfare and social development of Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, indeed. Welcome, of course, to the Corridor Transformation. Your host, Lennox Smith. Yes, indeed. Welcome. Yes, it's Christmas, but we have serious business to deal with. These fellas are not giving up, and they want to, of course, generate deflections after deflection. That in itself is a deflection, but we must address it as well.
But Uncle
Well, of course, I noticed that the system that plays the music in the background has cupped out. It seems to be not playing. So let us get down to tonight's program one time. Let's not waste time. I know that the mic at least is working, and that is what you want for a minimum program. As I said, we are on, of course, YouTube. At this point, we have not been able to on time to get onto the Facebook page, but we are going to get there. But let's get down to business one time. Yes, indeed. This press conference today was just a faux pas, a catastrophe, an embarrassment, an imbroglio, a public distressing projection by Rowley, pretending that he could sell snow cone in hell. So he wanted to sell snow cone in hell, so he believed that all of we are really fools. And when, of course, the pertinent question was asked to him, because, he come out there in his usual, of course, aggression being the best form of defense, and he doesn't want to answer, but yet still he's there. And he's doing no wrong, but yet still he's there. And when pertinent questions are asked with respect to what the journalists wanted to ask both him and Hines, none of them could answer. But he telling them, say what they want. Well, they said what they wanted. And you cannot tell them you're fast and out of place, Rowley, to tell them to interpret it how they want. But you giving them the right interpretation. Hold your tail. Hold your tail, boy. Get out of our faces. That's what you have to do. Let's tell them about. How you look is irrelevant to us. You have given us enough embarrassment. You have, of course, failed us on the local, national, in other words, regional, hemispheric, and international stage. And now you want to play that somebody else created the condition for you to look like an ass. Hold your tail. Hold your tail. You're lucky I'm not on Prince Street, and tonight is not Friday night. Come on, Prince Street. I'm going to tell you how I really think about all you. All of you. A bunch of incompetent, impotent conmen, criminals, and conspirators. Elements, collective and individually, to deprive our people, the children, the vulnerable, the aged in the society, and then you want to leave us empty. You want to leave us empty. But we will show you that that will not happen. That and a pink donkey you will never see. Yes, Rowley. And of course his bunch of miscreants. Let's go to the lines immediately. Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor. Yes, I am extremely irate tonight. Go ahead.
I'm sorry that Facebook is right up right now.
Yes.
But all those who just share on other platforms.
Yes.
So, Mr. Lennox, we will be brutal tonight.
Yes, man. Very brutal. You have the entire gambit, the entire expanse of your vocabulary to express him.
Right. So I claim responsibility for my words what come out my mouth tonight. Because here what's going on. Enough is enough. And when
I'm not qualified that enough for you. Enough is blasted enough. Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead.
So when Delcy Rodriguez and Peravesta Group came to this country, he didn't know nothing. But I want to tell Keith Christopher Rowley that here what's going on. Just as day follow night or night follow day, he is a blatant liar, a stranger of the truth, and here what's going on. If your name man and you have stones between your legs, sue the media. I ask you to sue the media. Because here what's going on. Give Coroner some work and the boys and them some work. Because you know what? When the media asks you, the journalists and them asks you, based on the agreement of the SOFA agreement and the Caribbean-based initiative since in Carter time, right? We have a treaty, and then you try to dance around. They say two countries who is signatory to the agreement, and have turmoil in one. You can use the next one to deploy your troops in to stockpile them, to aid the other who in the turmoil. You dance and you dance and you dance, right? But here what's going on. Since you know that the media and the journalists do something wrong, sue them narrowly, because you and the dragon deal gas flop, and you thief out everything, mortgage out everything to Shell. Well done. And now you can't get, you're thirsty for the gas to get some life. But here what's going on. We want foreign observers for the general election and the Commonwealth people to send observers because they intend to steal the election. And I say that without any fear or contradiction. Because if the EBC say they have the lack of funding, and in there say that they put on budget money, right? Who is lying? Who is lying, Rowley? Here what's going on. Master, they done, and here what's going on. You try to say the EBC do a PISA program, and that would have been the final end. But here what's going on. All them dead people, no Spanish are going to use the name to say voter. And they're going to use them people who dead it, and they killing COVID. And they kill it after the vaccine, you give them poison, and they drop it down like flies. You're going to use the name. We call it on the EBC to sanitize the list and prepare a list for the election. Because this time, the court done rule, all it was wrong. And this time, we don't make it go to court again. Right? Because all the servant master of Keith Rowley. Have a nice night, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Yes, indeed.
Nations, while others were doing something else. And time bars out. The 8 days that the EU gave Maduro to leave office, 800 days have passed. The American position on Venezuela evaporated in a particular way. Trinidad and Tobago and CARICOM, we held our position, and a zone of peace has been preserved, and that's where we are. And to the extent that there's any conflict that Venezuela is preparing for, whether it is with...
people, of course, let me give the background to all of this. Recently, as recent as yesterday or day before, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, represented by the National Security Minister and the Prime Minister, and of course the representative for the United States, the ambassador, and of course the person responsible for the Southern Command in the military, or put another way, in the Navy of the United States, signed 5 agreements. 5 agreements. And yes, of course, there are those that would have been, of course, old ones, but clearly inside of the details was the fact that there was an arrangement for military assistance or military cooperation. Rowley trying, of course, to make it look as though it's cooperation, but trying to hoodwink, bamboos, gaslight, and of course pretend that the population stupid and he alone bright. In one of those arrangements, as read out by one of the journalists who represents, of course, or represented the newspaper, the Newsday, because I read it as well this morning, and I think, of course, I did it on take note of it on the ground report. But the fact of the matter is that there was a clause that talks about, of course, military assistance. And clearly the United States is the boss. Let's not waste time with that. So I'm using words that are very, very familiar to you, just in case somebody say I'm using too much big words. So here it is. And they said stage. So what? The stage that they could stage on the other parties' territory, because it can't be that you have an agreement with the United States and Trinidad and Tobago soldiers could just go in America and stage some kind of offensive or defense, as the case may be. So it has to be the other way around. It's obvious. We are the lesser of the mortals in that arrangement. And Rowley rightly said that, of course, we get military assistance by way of course, repair to vessels, according to him. Not that, and somehow he believed that we don't know that the Chaguaramas dockyard, they want to give it or have given it to some 1%er. Where our Navy, or put another way, our Coast Guard in our case, boats could have been repaired quickly, easily, and conveniently, and cost-effectively, instead of having to go to Suriname. So don't give us that. And that was happening for the past 9 blasted years. They're telling me about boat now. They're telling me about boat now. After you let the horse out the stable, and it's running to the finish line, you now come in and you're so concerned about boats now. Hold your tail, Rowley. And want to use that as an obfuscation, once again, to try, of course, to deflect attention away from the imbroglio and the multiple levels of corruption, nepotism, cronyism, and faux pas, and at the same time, incompetence, impotence, and devilish behavior. Yesterday, of course, I asked you to part with a particular word, and I'm going to use it again tonight. Kako, demonic, spiritually evil. Kako, demonic. That is what they are. And come today, pretending, of course, as usual, he got home and sleep comfortably, vexed about what? If he was vexed, he would have done the right thing when, of course, in the early days when Maduro was playing the fool, and of course the people were migrating to Trinidad and Tobago, he must have seen, if he had a vision and a concern for Trinidad and Tobago, the kind of pressure that we'll be having now, having regard, of course, to their poor economic performance, and the fact that we are struggling to get $50 US in Trinidad and Tobago today. He should have seen all of that, and therefore should have known that he should have deployed, of course, the 12 Damien vessels that the UNC left for, of course, to patrol our coastline 24/7 or 360 degrees, and come talking a pile of shit. Up to now, the man has not said the clause that the papers refer to, and the fact that they did their due diligence. Not like he know that, of course, he knows that his Attorney General lied, and still make excuse for him. And in that press conference today, he make excuse for even Imbert again. When they asked him, of course, and he recognized that was, of course, a novelty. Why would a Minister of Finance of the stature that Imbert pretend to be? Of course, we know he has a short man syndrome, deficiency, and of course, in a state as Rowley is in, they have this collective inferiority complex. But he said of Imbert today, well, I could see Imbert coming back to clarify what he didn't. Well, he didn't say clarify certain points, etc., etc. But Imbert came to clarify what? A much larger amount of money that has been subscribed and will be, of course, claimed by the contractor, the Chinese company that is constructing that airport, that expansion of the airport in Tobago. Much more than what he said. He started with $14 or $16 million. There was hundreds of millions. He come back the next day. Are you saying that, are you confirming, Rowley, that Imbert is so damn incompetent? And one would wonder why, because the love, of course, to have large sums of money disappear. So the $3 billion, you just answer the question as to how. Because if the day before, and Imbert knew that he was coming, of course, to address the nation by virtue of the media, I would have thought that he would have come because, of course, as he had all the cards in his hand. Is he called the press conference, just as how you call the press conference today. He called the press conference, and he didn't know that, of course, $16 million was a drop in the bucket of claims that would be, and the population will be subjected to. Are you saying that bald-headed, rock-headed, nasty-minded, evil, criminalistic Rowley? That's what you're saying? That's what you're saying? That is the excuse you make for this man? That he didn't know what he was coming to say the day before, and the next day he come and clarify what? And then today, on your own behalf, the issue that gave rise to your choleric disposition, to your irascibility, yes, and your apoplectic disposition today, apoplectic, you so vexed. But those people don't study Rowley, you know. That's theatrics and histrionics. That's theater for he. That's par for the cause. He going back home and sleep nicely, but pretending, of course, he cares about the national interest and try to use that as another deflection in order for us not to focus on the fact that UNC and Kamala Persad-Bissessar is, of course, the party of choice and therefore the government of preference come the next elections. And that is on top of the fact that he's telling us in our faces that he is not going to bring anybody else, but of course the Commonwealth, but the CARICOM Secretariat to, of course, provide the objective look at our elections. After he said, not once, not twice, that he bringing no observers here. He said it for 2020, and he orchestrated it in 2020, and he got away with it only because of COVID. In the midst of COVID, he did that wicked son of a gun. And then, of course, he deliberately organized in 2015 when he interfered, of course, with the chairman of the ABC. And then, as if the man have a proclivity, a propensity, a predilection for evil and to be anti-democratic and to, of course, subvert our electoral process and to have us, of course, question an institution that is supposed to be objective, the EBC. And clearly, because of what they have done in two instances, Rowley going, of course, to the parliament and adding 3 seats into the Tobago House of Assembly, and they went, of course, and select, of course, the PNM-dominated electoral districts in Tobago and created 3 additional seats. Well, they get the tail washed and cut. They get the tail washed and cut because the people recognize, as indeed in Trinidad and Tobago as well. Let us not waste time. Let us not waste time. So he did it once, he did it twice, he did it a third time. And mind you, that was after talking about he did it next time again, because the local government elections, he went to the parliament with a slim, tenuous majority. And as I told somebody today, I think it's some fella who pretended to be, he likes to call people stupid and believe that makes him bright. I'm talking about Port of Spain or whatever that called today. I had to, of course, insult him, of course, in my technical way. But let me just go to the line. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah, good night to you, my friend.
And a pleasant good night to the right-thinking citizen of this beloved country, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, man.
Mr. Lennox, I want to tell the public and the average listeners that we have a prime minister that stayed 10 years or inside 10 years in office. He spent $600 billion. He borrowed 90-something million US dollars. I ain't for correction. Since it never had a time under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley's stewardship that he tell us things are well. Since that man is Prime Minister of this beloved country, he telling us buckle our belt. After spending $600 billion, he tell we buckle we belt now till 2027. Dr. Rowley has done nothing for Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Rowley carry us back where we don't want to be. So I'm saying all of that to say, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, now is the time for we to put our heads together and remove the PNM. I hear people bawling about Imbert and Dr. Rowley, and we go attack him. We don't want none of them. We want all of them out of office, because it has nothing more for we to see or to say that we should allow Dr. Rowley and the PNM to continue, because the place done mash up. And we need a Kamala Prasad successor in order to fix back or get back this country running. So I don't know what people have to see again, because I'm mad, I vex, I upset,
This is beyond ad nauseum. This is beyond sickening. This despicable.
You see me, I sick, because about this PNM government, and this man had the audacity to stand up in the parliament the other day and telling we he bringing CARICOM observers. But Mr. Lennox, I'm going to break down something for you, right?
Go ahead.
If we move the Privy Council, then the Caribbean part of Justice, or whatever they call it, you could buy them, right? And once you could buy them, the government will always be successful in everything they bring towards that court. But you can't buy the law lords. It has no money with them, right? So I say that to say this: the CARICOM, and who are the CARICOM observers that Dr. Rowley bring in? Because they have a lot of friends within the CARICOM.
That is exactly what is happening. There's always something sinister about this man. Look, he did the same thing to get close to Biden in that fake arrangement to give him a doctorate. That is what this man does.
And if you want to put this to rest, then tell me you bring in international observers.
That's all you have to do.
We don't want no CARICOM observers.
Don't tell us that it is conditional. Don't tell us that you're stopping at a particular juncture where the population is of extreme suspicion about you and your government, and you have the audacity to stop in our faces. We will be tenacious. We will not stop. We will be relentless. And I want the media, of course, having recognized that they have a new lease on life, to put the questions to him, and to have him, of course, in the quagmire or in the bracelets. I'm going to say, of course, in blue lights and silver bracelets. Not yet, but certainly in the vice grip, the verbal and should I say, mental vice grip that you have him in. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes, Mr. Lennox. So all these things that we seeing, we don't need to see nothing more.
No, there's nothing more to be
seen.
Dr.
Rowley
today is the greatest. It's the greatest, and we anticipated that he's going to go berserk. He's going to go off the rockers. And he's going to be in regular rants when he have much more to come. Rowley. You someday. Don't get the hell out of office. Don't get the hell out.
The last thing he do.
Yeah, go ahead.
He tell me tight with this and tight with that. He give them 4% and tell them the grievance for this back pay. Well, I want to tell them they go get the back pay, but they're going to lose the job. But I want to tell that Prime Minister that rape child, if it's so to speak, that rape child, if I want to tell him, we go give him the $1 million back pay, but we go fire him anytime he call the election. Mr. Lennox, I gone.
Which he has taken unmeritoriously. He ain't work for that. He ain't work for that at all. Spend more time out of the country than getting frequent flyer opportunity. I don't know what will happen after, because he can't fly there, he can't fly here, and he can't fly anywhere when he would have left office. Yes, indeed, people. But let's go back to that spectacular collapse of a press conference and the Prime Minister in his, should I say, deepened state of discombobulation and, of course, anger that the population has come to recognize who he is and are consistently calling him and his minions out.
Ireland or with the United States or anybody for that matter, CARICOM's position to all participants is that we are not in support of breaches of the zone of peace.
You have another caller? Let's pause here. Let's go straight to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome. I expect people don't forget, of course, we are not on Facebook tonight. We are only on YouTube. So make your calls and, of course, share. Go ahead, my friend.
Good night to the Honorable Doctor.
Good night to you, my friend.
Well, dum-dum at it again.
Dum-dum, yeah. Dum-dum plus
God,
dumbbell.
boy. I don't know what to say about this fella again.
The man gone mad.
He don't pack up his marrows and go and live somewhere else. Tobago don't want him. I don't know what happened with Trinidad, so we can't say Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad clearly don't want him either. So he has to live over the Bocas. Let him live on some... He's a rock scientist, so he should know how to put rocks on a cloud or something over the Bocas so he could build a house and live there. Yeah.
He could spoil the water in Bocas. Right? Oh God, Tobago don't want him. Leave Trinidad alone. But Trinidadian, he was right, Trinidadian really stupid, but I did pay him and them.
Yeah, that was those right? Selected, what I consider to be obsolete and they are facing, of course, what I consider to be extinction.
I don't want to pay that money when they start to work.
Yeah.
Right? All that money that dwindles borrow. Right? But yes. I don't know where really going to everything is a lie. The woman come on TV and say that she made the baby before she was 18. He's supposed to get locked up for rape.
Yeah. Something always, and it always collapsing on him. He's not even a good liar. But he believes dead that he is a professional liar.
But we know that. But since from the early days, since 69, coming up with and Jack had all of them.
Yeah, he believed that he could lie. He believed he could sell snow cone and ice in hell. That's what he believed. A place where there is an eternal furnace. But he believed he could sell water there and ice because people will want to buy in an environment that is only heat in the tail. Yeah.
Serious. I was just trying to protect my grandchildren and them.
Yes, man.
Right? Oh God, boy. Jeez.
Yeah, the man is despicable, horrendous, evil, wicked, and diabolical. Thanks very much.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I know my friend. All of those sentiments are permissible because that is what we have, purporting to be some kind of prime minister or some kind of human being. That miserable specter of protoplasm, the stuff that living things are made of.
The original colleague here and telling him you're not engaging in any tutorial with him. I mean, can't you see how that could also be part of the problem? Nobody here gets up and say how we can make Trinidad and Tobago look bad today.
Oh yeah?
Is Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh yeah?
So when we reach out to you all and we want some clarification on something, you will
I do not accept from you that it is the government's fault why you have misinterpreted years of work that you yourself have been carrying. Because you had the opportunity to see our position in the context of what you know. It may be that you took an excursion into an area that you don't know, but that is your irresponsibility, not mine. You do know enough. If you are in the media and you don't know what Trinidad and Tobago's position is on this matter, which we have shared with you ad infinitum, The fact that we are in a position signing an agreement here for further cooperation between our entities and the US entities, and you take that to mean that we have signed an agreement to make Trinidad and Tobago either a colony of the United States or a floating base for the United States, and then telling me that is because I didn't tell you otherwise?
To reach out to the Minister of National Security, which they did, right? Yes. He didn't respond to them. Neither did Minister.
So as a result of that, you can create your own story.
No, they had an interpretation of it and they back it up with facts.
And that's what I'm saying.
I'm having fun at the same time in this very, what I consider to be angry scenario. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah. When Rowley did, they're going to make trades to man mash it up. Just like what they do at the man outside.
Go ahead. Speak a little louder, please, because I think I'm getting an audio issue internally. So I want to make sure we get every syllable of what you are trying to generate with us. Go ahead.
When Rowley there, they're going to look for his grave there, bring Berry and mash up the 2 man like that.
Uh-huh. All right. Like that's what he wanted to say. Something about that. Yeah?
Yeah, that is all I want to say.
Repeat it again, because I want to hear it clearly.
When he died, they're going to look for his tomb, the grave side there when he's buried, and burn it, mash up the tomb.
I hear you, my friend. Mash up the tomb, yeah. Because that's what is happening to Assad today. That happened to, of course, Saddam Hussein from Iraq. And people like them.
Men have to get that.
Yeah, people like them, need to get that kind of posthumous treatment and post their dominance treatment as well, because Assad, people wish that he would have died because they said that his plane was shut down, but it appears that he's seeking refuge in Russia. Rowley, of course, seemed to be making his refuge bed in Venezuela. So, of course, and I will, of course, talk about what I believe the true reason for him coming out there, and, of course, why he had to come out there and speak as he did, because, and I'll put it in the context of core gangsters who, of course, are now suspicious of each other because of certain interjection and interdiction that has created the situation for Rowley to talk as he has. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, man.
No, same person? Oh, go ahead. All right. Give back the phone. Yes, indeed. People, let's hear him as he, of course, is unable to answer the question that he came out there to address after, of course, a journalist read from the document that was given to the public as to the conditionalities and at least one of the clauses in one of the 5 agreements that was, of course, engaged in by way of signing between both parties, the United States and Trinidad and Tobago.
I would not be surprised if tomorrow they defend it and say, this is our interpretation, it's a free country. I am here simply pointing out to others that this is not so, and pointing out to you.
You notice it's not for the first time when he's in that mood. He does hit the microphone. We saw that when the PNM people heckle him in St. James, and he dwarfed the PNM campaign to use again illegally Trinidad and Tobago's taxpayers' money, and then say, meet the Prime Minister. After, of course, the people in St. James tell him, you just lie. And don't get me vexed before I play it, Don't get me vexed. But listen to him.
If you are in the media and you don't know what Trinidad and Tobago's position is on this matter, which we have shared with you ad infinitum, the fact that we are in a position signing an agreement here for further cooperation between our entities and the US entities, and you take that to mean that we have signed an agreement to make Trinidad and Tobago either a colony of the United States or a floating base for the United States, and then telling me that is because I didn't tell you otherwise?
To reach out to the Minister of National Security, which they did, right? Yes. He didn't respond to them. Neither did Minister.
So as a result of that, you can create your own story.
No, that an interpretation of it and they back it up with facts. So.
And that's what I'm saying. So I would not be surprised if tomorrow they defend it and say, this is our interpretation, it's a free country. I am here simply pointing out to others that this is not so, and pointing out to you that the facts don't bear this out.
Forget you have a microphone in front of him. Let's take it a little more before, of course, I make my final analysis of the situation.
I am not debating that. But what you're trying to say that as a result of you not reaching out to somebody, that you have a right to go and publish something that is not supported by facts. And pretend that you don't know what the facts are up to that point. That's what you're saying. I want you to tell me that all that I've said here this morning is news to you. Because everything that I've said here this afternoon, as a matter of fact, excuse me, everything I've said here have been with you in the public domain all along the way. Right?
The agreement may have appeared to provide for that kind of arrangement.
Well, and that is why, because of the importance of not misrepresenting it, if you don't understand it, don't talk about may have appeared. Because I am not responsible for your competence. And if you read the article, and you will see exactly what Admiral Halsey said. Before that, you would see what is said by the government. Where does it come in that this has to do with managing crisis in Venezuela? Where? And I'm not here for 1 minute trying to tell the media how to do your work or what to write. I'm simply saying you have a responsibility.
He's conscious of where he is.
That's all I'm saying.
He played bright. You want to tell telling the media what to write.
You have a responsibility.
And say that
he
don't want to tell them what to write. You're attacking the press.
No
I'm telling them you're not attacking them. People are fools.
So misleading.
So he thinks. You're attacking the press and saying you are not. You tell them not. You tell them what to write and then say you can't tell them what to write.
Yep.
So
because you're conscious that the world is watching.
That sometimes when there's a story and you feel confident enough, I mean, I haven't read the story properly, but if there's a measure of confidence that this is what the agreement suggested and there is no response, what then? I mean, what then? You sit and wait for response?
I am not going to answer that because I cannot tell the media how to do its work and how long to wait and who to talk to. What I've asked you, I have spoken here on a number of public initiatives which are known. All of it carried with the media at different stages. So it is nothing new. The situation of Trinidad and Tobago in this matter, in this situation, is not new. So don't tell me that because you didn't get a conversation with the Minister of National Security that you don't know what the country's position is. Because nobody in the government has changed the country's position. And communicating with the public, we do so all the time through you, the media. And how you handle it is up
Tell
to
that
you.
to Mr. Amar.
And we expect
Tell that to Mr. Amar. And the young man that you castigated and humiliated.
Accuracy and a certain amount of responsibility. I know that I don't, it's not for me to mark your paper. But when the outcome is of this nature, somebody in authority in Trinidad and Tobago has to clarify it. And that's what I'm doing now. But I will not be surprised if tomorrow the issue is, yes, we're right, because the government was wrong and because I didn't talk to the minister and nobody has talked to us. I can tell you,
you're right to it too.
The amount of hours I spend in front of the media in this country, no other leader has ever done that. And these particular issues have always been ventilated to you through the media. So don't pretend to not know. And this is new. This is shockingly new. That is why my CARICOM colleagues have to ask, what is going on? Because how could Trinidad and Tobago generate a headline like that? Where we are in fact making ourselves available, when in fact all along our position is we are not supporting, not now, had not been, and not ever.
The seriousness of the report is that this particular report, that there was an onus on the media house to get a commenter.
Well, if you follow how these things go,
Even if they tried and
troops of one country, anywhere in the world, troops of one country having access to another country for the benefit of action against another country. That is how the conflicts are around the world. But we are not in that situation. We are not in that situation. We have.
Professor Goodnight,
let
let me just cut this man off here so that we can hear some serious and should I say sane expression of concern and of course presentation. Rowley is simply going all over the place. The man is discombobulated in a state of confusion. Go ahead, my friend.
Lennox, you have no shame to call Robert Amal name.
Of course, I have no shame to call his name. Yes, I have no shame for what? What must I be shamed for? Man, how they tell you trying to deflect what the rapist that is your boss. You trying to make excuse for he. No, we can't divert from here. Let us hear the convoluted and the meanderings and the obfuscations and the circumlocutions and the innuendos. Yes, we want to hear all of that, man. You wasting time, man. That nonsense you come to talk.
Not.
Listen to nonsense. Listen to nonsense now.
States, Trinidad and Tobago's sovereignty and our sovereign position is paramount.
we have a volatile relationship with Venezuela where
No, we
something
don't.
like this will...
No, we don't. We have a very good relationship with Venezuela. And we also have a very good relationship with the United States. We operate as an independent country, free to make our own foreign policy and treat with our associates as our national interests dictate. That's what it is.
One negative, to use the word headline, is not going to jeopardize any commercial arrangements that we are engaged in.
In matters of this nature, sometimes you don't even have to have
I mean, this man, boy.
It can be
He really needs some mental
an interpretation
examination.
of the future. These are complex issues, and I would say that hopefully our relationship with Venezuela and the United States, for that matter, would not be jeopardized by misunderstandings of their positions. Right?
So, I mean, just as a point of clarification, the story does say that the government has the option to decline the
Listen to this carefully,
request, right? That aside,
This is man that asked me
tutorial,
the
but can
poignant
you
question.
assure the general public then that clause that says the U.S. can launch military personnel and machinery to countries in conflict from signatories, that clause does not exist in the agreement?
Listen to him.
I am
Listen to the
not
answer.
discussing the agreement. I am simply saying that your interpretation of the agreement that Trinidad, the United States can put troops in Trinidad and Tobago is not what this signature, this is about. Understood? Especially when it is couched in the language of government signs agreement as White House ups pressure on Maduro. Understand? I'm simply saying that your interpretation and your presentation is wrong.
Do you have any?
Listen to this again.
Sometimes you don't even have to have the matter gelling. It can be an interpretation of the future. These are complex issues, and I would say that hopefully our relationship with Venezuela, and the United States for that matter, would not be jeopardized by misunderstandings of their positions. Yeah?
So, I mean, just as a point of clarification, the story does say that the government has the option to decline the U.S. request, right? That aside, I know you said you didn't want to give me any tutorial, but can you assure the general public then that that clause that says the U.S. can launch military personnel and machinery to countries in conflict from signatories, that clause does not exist in the agreement?
Listen carefully.
I am not discussing the agreement. I am simply saying that your interpretation of the agreement.
Rowley, hold your tail. Let me paraphrase for you. The journalist asked the very question, and as I said earlier, that which caused Rowley to be so damn vexed. And he asked him the simple question, and he quoted the phrase or the clause of the agreement that the newspaper, of course, printed today, as to whether or not the clause says that military assistance and or action can be taken on the soil clearly of those who the Americans would have signed that agreement with, because it can't be the reverse. Trinidad well, unless Rowley is the honest man, will tell you that Trinidad bigger than, of course, America. He's the honest man. I expect him to say that. But certainly, Venezuela is an issue. And when, of course, a clause that talks about staging or bringing U.S. military assets and or personnel on your soil to launch in defense of, Rowley turn and say that he is not answering that. If the clause said that, and the man asks him categorically say yes or no, a yes or no question, you know. The answer is just yes or no, you know. And he then, of course, goes through his convoluted diatribe. So we know that is theatrics. But let me tell you what really is the issue here for Rowley. Let me tell you what is the issue here for Rowley. In case, of course, you missed it, and I have a duty and responsibility, of course, to, of course, expose it. Rowley's real concern is that here it is. He made a big public hullabaloo. It was a tremendous public opportunity to make him look good and feel good. You ever say? I say it was Rowley's opportunity to say, listen, here it is. I am signing big time agreement, 5 of them, with, of course, the United States. So you in the public domain, not the wiser as to what the details of those agreements are. Because hear him there now. If it is that he can say, he has the belly to say, that we ought to know, how the hell we ought to know if he didn't tell us? So he ain't tell we, but we ought to know. You ever say? I said he didn't tell us, but we ought to know. There was no, the only details you have is what was written in the document. And when, of course, the journalists, before they wrote the story, or before they published the story about military possibility for the Americans to come here and launch some kind of an attack anywhere, before that, they called Rowley. I read the document today, I read the papers, and Rowley said talk to his national security minister, and they say they couldn't find the national security minister. And of course, they sent it by WhatsApp too. Just as how Farley sent, of course, his concerns for the autonomy bill to Rowley by WhatsApp. and say that he was obnoxious, etc. Yeah. But what Rowley is concerned about is that the opportunity, the photo op, and the projection that somehow Trinidad and Tobago is making progress on the several fronts. He has lost the opportunity. That is what have him concerned. You see, because his political survivability, and don't tell me that he don't want to go back as Prime Minister, you know. Don't tell me that he is, of course, delaying, contemplating. No, it's part of their clearly increasingly collapsing propaganda to delay, and then of course he will say, well, listen, yes, I'm contesting, etc., 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 because he is the boss. For all intents and purposes, he is the boss. So let me repeat once again, and don't tell me I know what I'm talking about, because I will bring the examples in addition to that to conclude. Irrefutably, the opportunity to look good in the public domain and to advance the political or electoral prospects of the PNM, he realized has been scuttled, has been damaged irreparably. And of course, I say irreparably here because his response have consolidated and solidified that, of course, irretrievability. Yeah, can't retrieve. So he come out now to, of course, be angry with the media for doing, of course, their job. But let me go further. It's not just that alone. Let's go a little further. Let me just get him back on the screen. I want to make sure that people know is that press conference today. There's more than that. He thought he would have been able to be in the good graces in totality with the Americans by signing that multiple agreement. One, that's the next area. And two, no information ought to come out to offend the Venezuelan despotic, a criminalistic, savage and brutal administration under Maduro in Venezuela, because his next concern obviously will be the dragon gas and the relationship that something like that will have. So therefore, he felt compelled to come and address it immediately. That is the thinking of the man. So he realized that on multiple fronts, where he thought he would have been able, of course, to hoodwink and deceive the Americans, deceive the Venezuelans, deceive Trinidad and Tobago, and he wants to ride, of course, on the chariot of electability. That is what this man is concerned about. It has nothing to do with anything else. And don't tell me there is no basis for what I am saying. Because you see, very recently, my mother does always say that a dog sucking egg will continue so to do, and they have that propensity. Of course, in criminology, it is called, of course, modus operandi. There's a pattern of behavior. So what is the other evidence to show that what I have just said is a conclusive analysis as to the real reason for Rowley's anger and irascibility? What it is? Well, when he entertained Jindal at the Whitehall or at the Diplomatic Center, whichever, the intention was to suggest that he has these big shot coming out, of course, of India. But of course, we know now that Jindal wasn't part of that. It was another group that was interested, of course, in, of course, getting the academy, not Jindal. Jindal wasn't interested in getting the academy going, and of course, Rowley and them cause the pan-fraternity to give up, 14 acres of land for 2 or 3 house spots on Ricey Road in Port of Spain. Yeah. Because remember, he went, of course, to India. And he said he met with all of these business magnates. And a lot of investment is expected to come to Trinidad. So when Jindal happened, and let me tell you this as well, just in case most of you would not know. We all know that Jindal, through the in particular, of course, the opposition, that Jindal was charged, of course, for unfairly and greedily enriching himself. So he's charged. That's what he's charged for. In fact, the matter is called Coalgate. Coalgate, meaning that there were, of course, opportunities to mine coal, C-O-A-L, coal, in, of course, India. And there was an arrangement between him and the minister. The minister as well, whether former or current, has also been charged with him. But I'm saying all this to say that when Jindal came or had to leave India on a tour to the, not the Caribbean, but to South America, and to, of course, the United States, and I think Australia as well. But he had to, with a high degree of specificity, because it was a question of the condition of his bail, and the court wanted to know and had to know his whereabouts, should in case the case call and he could not be present. So as a matter of formality, he had to tell them, the court, where he was going out of the country called India. All the field we don't know, All the field we don't know, we know. And in that document of his itinerary, where he will be going abroad, because it's a legal requirement, it's not optional, legal, because people will feel that he tried to abscond and warrants, etc., will be taken out, and of course Interpol will come, and all of that will be engaged. So therefore, and as a man, of course, with a lot of interest in India, because he was part and parcel of the legislature there as well, so he had, of course, to conform to the rules more so than anybody else, if only to be an exemplar. So he gave the court the list, but guess what? On that list never had Trinidad and Tobago on it. You know what I say? I say the list that Jindal gave to the court in India had nothing about Trinidad and Tobago's visit. So it is clear that Rowley and they met the man in India, and they might have had some kind of discussion, in Guyana, which was part of his itinerary. And they must have had some kind of discussion. Obviously, his logic is common sense. It is what is called deductive reasoning. And as a consequence, Jindal paid a visit here because he must have been, of course, encouraged to at least come and see. And what Rowley did, Rowley used that as an opportunity to, of course, tell the population, but listen, we have a big time, of course, investor consequential of his visit to India, and of course, now coming from Guyana. What he didn't know, it was an exercise in futility. You see, the hole you dig for people, especially when it is evil, very often you fall in it. Oh, what a contradiction. And clearly, oh, what a tangle web we weave when one first set out to deceive. So he brings him back here, and of course he opens up the diplomatic center and the office and taking pictures, etc., for local consumption. It had nothing to do with India, you know. Local consumption. Let's see, you have a potential buyer for the thing, of course, rubbing his thumb at the same time in the faces and in the eyes of course, Petrotrin, Petrotrin here in the context of the OWTU, and of course, and Patriotic, which of course is a company that the OWTU formed at tremendous expense, clearly, of membership money in order, of course, to make that deal come true. And of course, signaling immediately to, of course, Roger and OWTU, and of course, the company that they would have formed, Patriotic, that listen, I have a preferred investor here. But the man is so stupid, Rowley, and does not think in totality the consequences, but it appears that he operates on a knee-jerk and a kind of whimsical. His capriciousness is, of course, unfathomable and, of course, stereotypical of his conduct. Because when he brought those emails to the parliament, he didn't dream of the total consequences. All he was concerned about is that he get an opportunity, of course, to be prime minister. That's all he was concerned about. Well, there, he knows that, of course, he has to call election. Who knows? Maybe he might have called the elections this year if, of course, that Jindal matter had gone his way. But ultimately, the opposition found out, of course, and we too, the predicament of Jindal. But more so, why I'm saying that the intention was, of course, for domestic consumption, so to make Rowley have us believe he no longer can, of course, but he will die trying, that somehow he's important, and he got, of course, an investor, one of the richest men in India, to be here in his office, shaking hands, etc., and so on. Forgetting that all that was required, all of the expressions of interest, and those who would have had submitted their expressions of interest, including, of course, that of Patriotic, OWTU, and worse yet, the period, even though it was extended, was closed for the expression of interest to be submitted to the cabinet appointed committee to look at the various proposals. Yes. So how Jindal come in this? It could have only been that Rowley sensed that he could have, of course, tell the domestic gullible and who wish to listen to him, especially those so-called intellectual backsides that, of course, would from time to time root for him. Intellectual backsides. They can't even see through clear glass, even though it is transparent. It is always opaque or translucent. So translucent, allowing light, but you can't see through. That is how these intellectuals annoy me and annoy others, because they are supposed to be bright, some of the brightest that Trinidad could have produced, and rooting for, of course, a rapscallion like this man, a total opportunist narcissist, and one with dictatorial and, of course, lunatic tendencies. Lunatic, I say, tendencies. A blasted lunatic. They must know he's sick. They must know that he clearly displays a proclivity to lie. His mendaciousness knows no boundary. Lying. Yes. That level of prevarication, lies. Never before, out of one man who is supposed to be Prime Minister of the country over the last 9 years. It is habitual. Some say it is what? It's not only toxic, but he is sick. Pathological. Sick. pathological. It's chronic. So he saw it as an opportunity, and then of course the entire thing fell in his face, just as the emails that he brought, those false piece of paper he brought into Parliament, and of course that too. That's what has happened. And don't tell me you want a next example, because there are many I could bring to you to show you. But let me give you the more classic ones. And how Rowley would have dug to bring up these phantasmagorical episodes for political dominance, and to stay there, trying to avoid blue lights and silver bracelets. That is inevitable. Let's go to the lights. I'll give you the next one in a while. A pleasant good night.
Look how you come like a jackass.
Yes, man. Yes. The truth does offend, so people can sit down there and listen. Yes, indeed. So what's the other example? Nobody could deflect or deter me from the course of action that I'm taking, because everything I say could be verifiable or verified, certified. The veracity of what I'm saying, undisputed. Why you think Rowley cannot yet, for the past 9-10 years or more, send me a pre-action action protocol letter calling him a rapist and a pedophile? Of course, that is what the last caller there, that is his leader, so you have to feel sorry for them, if sorry is a term at all. But the fact of the matter is that we have to be able to treat with matters in such a way. A pleasant good night.
Lennox, pleasant good night again.
Yes, go ahead, my friend.
That caller could call 96.91.9 from 5 in the morning till 4.
Yeah.
Do not call your program. It's too much of the truth talking here.
Yeah. The truth doesn't offend the
things are taking place here.
Irritated, you start to get, of course, anxious, you start to get anxiety.
You start to feel sick when you hear the truth.
Yeah, sick. The truth doesn't offend me.
You gotta deal with them, Lennox. I gotta deal with them.
Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead. Tell them, man. I know how to talk.
All your tail and don't call here.
Yes.
It's educated people who love our country listening to Mr. Lennox. Don't call here. Go and call on your program where you only lies and in the windows. Don't call here. Mr. Lennox are gone.
Thank you very much. And I want to tell him, like last night, before the program finishes, over 1,000 views. So we know what we are talking about and the people understand. What is the other, a very, what I consider to be vivid and irrefutable example of that proclivity of Rowley to utilize these, what I consider to be phantasmagorical construction, ideated or mauled or contemplated by Rowley to try to bamboozle back home and to try to get into office. And I want to say before I give the other example, because the same fella tried to tell me that, of course, UNC had 27 seats. I thought he was going to say something about constitutional reform or some other what I consider the extraneous thing. So all I had to say, well, because the argument, as Rowley would say, that these fellas, of course, will regurgitate, will parrot. Let me just go to this call. Let me take this call one time. Yeah, go ahead. A pleasant good night.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
Good night to everybody who's on the live and who's on the chat.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox, listen now. This country is in a real crater, not a hole, a
crater.
In a
country.
Listen, man. Yeah. I saw a documentary from, I think it's 2 fellas, some TC and heavy guy. Right? I don't know even I just have to see them now. And them men read from that document the kind of money. If you know the kind of money this evil, wicked government, boy.
Yeah, we have it. In fullness of time, we will disclose. Because all of us have
and
it.
choking.
Yeah, all of us have them.
These people and them horrendously evil.
Yeah.
You telling me them borrow from a previous document that they also had, I remember, was $91 billion.
That's right. US we talking about, right? US, eh?
Yeah, US money.
Yeah.
So, and we talking about 600,000, $500 million. They're talking about that.
Trillion,
we
talking
talking that money.
We the United States category. Trillion.
Close to trillion. Almost $3 billion from the Auditor General. So wait now, Rolling them had to make us serious jail in this country,
Yes.
Our children and our grandchildren and our children. You telling me what they
It's an
slave?
imperative.
Or let me be
It's going to
slaves.
show an example of these fellas that they can ride roughshod on us. And then
as far as I'm concerned, here we're as a citizen, as a private citizen, here we're going now. Is that what you say? We hire earlier, right? And you can't tell me already want international observers. We want the Carter Foundation here, and we want the Commonwealth observers, and I'm here too.
Yes, my friend.
Right? You look at what you want.
Yes.
You have to listen to what we want. You understand? And it's that.
Yeah, them stick break in the airs, as the old people would say, because they are bent on this criminal venture, believing that government is for criminals, because they have, of course, deceived the people, one, and two, morphed or metamorphosized government into a criminal enterprise. We just had to watch at Balize House and know that is in fact a fact. It's a mafia syndicate, in other words. Yeah, of course, let's go straight. Let me get back to that thing. So I was talking about that guy who said, well, UNC had 27 seats, and of course they or like Rowley would say, 27 seats and they got licks. But I want to tell him that Rowley's victory is won in the first instance with 23 seats. And the second one was with 22 seats. And I want you to understand the exacerbations and the hyperboles and the body language and the extraordinary, what I consider to be colorful language that they use to show that they're in government and that they beat the UNC, when in fact the victory at minimum is extremely slim, tenuous, and that increasingly they have been reduced. We saw that in Tobago, we saw that in the local government elections, more than one. Let's go to the lines. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Lennox, good night, man.
Good night, my friend.
Yeah, I see I'm on the only calling on Harris in your way.
I consider him to be, of course, comic relief, and I have an opportunity, of course, to expatiate a little more on issues that he may have raised, because he loves to tell people that they're stupid and that they know and this and that, and he believes that makes him bright.
Yeah, but this man, he got no common sense, right?
No, common sense is not as common as one would have thought, particularly among PNM sycophants.
You should have some common sense, man. No
yeah,
God,
but he's only one. He's only
no.
one in the the hundreds that could call in, but clearly they are in disagreement with him. So he believed that he could carry all of them on his shoulder. Well, I suppose by now and after the election, he go get Bosi back. If not crash all entirely. So let him continue.
Yeah, but he has some cousin down south here, no? I wonder if you know that.
The amount of thing I hear about he was on the wharf. The only thing we have in common is that I like desperados, but I would be much more fair to them and, of course, see their welfare as opposed to him. He says that where desperados is on Nelson Street, that's the best place for them. That's what the man say.
Yeah, but let me let him know that the information that Christian Heavy them has.
Yes.
right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because they want the freedom of information.
We have it as well. We just didn't play it yet. Yes.
Yeah. So those information are legit information. So it's no propaganda thing like how did it?
Yeah, of course. That is what we like as well. Yes.
And the same man, Prime Minister, when he was opposition leader, didn't he request for foreign observers to come here, Mr. Lennox?
Repeat that.
When Rowley was opposition leader, did he request that foreign observer must come for the elections in 2015, sorry?
Uh-huh. I think that's it clearly.
No, I say in 2015 when we had the election, he made the call for foreign observers to come in.
Yeah. I have a copy of the letter. I have a copy. We will share it in due course. Yeah, I have a copy of it. And he included, of course, just to show how criminal-minded this man is, he included, of course, he had cause to go into the parliament and, of course, deliver emails that suggested that the sitting prime minister was conspiring to kill a journalist, among other things. That wicked man did that. That's treason, you know.
Yeah, I know all that.
That's treason.
Yeah, I know all that.
That's treason,
yeah.
Apart from the fact that he's a total scum and the conservative want. He's a bastard scum of the earth.
Yeah, but the other thing, when they had the CARICOM security meeting here, right? And they had somebody CARICOM leaders was praising him, right?
Yeah, because they wanted So you understand what that is all about?
The local election that we supposed to have, they were praising him, rating him up. So that means that is his friends.
So what that mean? Let me hear. Let me see if you're following the pattern of behavior. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's his friend. So
what means for the next elections, as far as observers are concerned, because you only want CARICOM observers.
Yeah,
what I mean? Yes. Your friends and them going to send observers, and that is why you see, the man has a pattern of behavior. It's the same reason why he wanted. Listen carefully. When those fake pieces of paper he called emails were submitted, and at the time nobody would have thought that Dr. Rowley was so evil, was so wicked, was so vindictive, was so power hungry. He said that he wanted the Integrity Commission to investigate. You know what I said? The Integrity Commission. Nobody knew that he had already communicated and went to the home of the then chairman, Ken Gordon. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew. He never told anybody. And he still insisted on the Integrity Commission to investigate those fake pieces of paper that he concocted, he devised, he manufactured. You know, the reason why he was insistent further, even though by that time they discovered that Ken Gordon had accommodated him, or he went by Ken Gordon to try to, of course, have him through the back door, so to speak, engaged so that he could get where he is today. You know what? The vice chairman was the former judge, Ventor. Ventor was the former judge. So he knew that he had another partner in case, of course, well, in that particular case, Gordon would have been sidelined or was non-functional, was dysfunctional for his purpose. So he had Ventor there. And why I could say Ventor, and Ventor is a former judge, he can't do me nothing. Ventor, I say, can't do me nothing. Because Ventor, when the matter eventually reached the Integrity Commission under a new chairman, etc., and they said that this thing is rubbish, this thing is a waste of time. You know what Ventor did? Ventor resigned from the Integrity Commission, knowing full well that he would be in trouble if he disclosed matters that were confidential, and the basis on which the Integrity Commission draw the conclusion that those pieces of paper were just what it is, in word of fact. You know, the man come out, resign from the Integrity Commission, and then say that they should be looking at the contents of those pieces of paper. And that's the same thing Rowley and Alrari in San Juan all over the place were touting, that it's not about, of course, whether the emails were in fact emails and could have gone anywhere, which of course couldn't go anywhere, but the contents. And he wants to control the narrative. And that is what Ventor did. That is what Ventor did. Just as the entire cabinet conspired to save Rowley from criminal investigation as far as the fake oil is concerned, having of course told us that the man at the helm of it, A.V. Gillen, is his friend. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
But my friend, so I just wanted to make sure that we are clear that there's a pattern of behavior that we have to be able, and as of course one who has been trained and schooled in forensic and other matters of a criminal nature, I can tell you Rowley is guilty, irrefutably and conspicuously. Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. But remember the THA election, right?
Yeah.
No, that's not it. The THA election that took place before. And they draw 6-6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
6-6. And 13 is closer to 12.
Is what?
If you draw, I said 13 is closer to 12, not so?
Yeah, it's closer to 12.
So why you make it 15? Because you wanted what, an unfair advantage?
Yeah, that's what he did. Yeah, with another conspirator, that there's too often not to be, or should I say to be very, very concerned, and that is the EBC. EBC did what he wanted them to do.
Yeah, because if you have 13 seats, and somebody gets 7 and somebody gets 6, the person with 7 will win.
No,
why
15? Let me tell you, he engages in what is called specious argument, meaning that it sounds good. So his argument was that the Joint Select Committee that was looking at giving more autonomy to Tobago was bandying about 15 seats, and that's how we arrived at 15 seats. You understand? So it sounds good. Okay. You see? Yeah. He finds these specious arguments to, of course, justify and that's why I call those so-called intellectuals that either are his friends or is connected to him or still have some kind of respect for him, that they have to be backsides. They see a pattern of behavior. What kind of intellectual are you all? Come on board and get rid of this man before he sends us, of course, to hell in a gasoline-soaked paper bag. We are already sinking. You want us to sink? Yes, my friend.
I believe we sunk.
Yeah.
I believe we sunk, you know.
You what?
Yeah, we just on the. I believe we are on the ocean floor.
Yeah, we are that. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we should be at Police Gate, we are, of course, at the opposite of Police Gate. There's a term for it, but it means, of course, the Devil's Gate.
All right, you take it.
All right, my friend. Yes, indeed. So let me get back, of course. I love this program tonight because, of course, it has, of course, given me an opportunity to be a little bit nostalgic, whilst at the same time, of course, coming back to contemporary or current events, and then, of course, looking futuristic in terms, of course, making certain that even Laventil come on board in order, of course, to show Rowley and the PNM that not just enough is enough, but they have disappointed, they have betrayed, and they have, of course, demonstrated their lack of ability to manage the affairs of the country, because Laventil has been shortchanged for too long, and therefore, and that is only because of the association with the PNM. Let's just not waste time with that. But let me get back, of course, to that ultimate pattern of behavior that you saw there today in that so-called press conference, where, of course, Rowley lost his marbles once again, and it will increase. It will be more regular and increase as he has to engage the population to try to get back into office unmeritoriously and of course seeking out unfair advantage so to do. He has already bellowed or indicated one, and that is that only CARICOM. And that's to tell you that his friends in CARICOM will certainly send a delegation to be part of it to throw a blind eye, especially when he, of course, starts. And we're going to discuss all of that. Let me just get to that irrefutable exemplification of a pattern of behavior of Rowley. That is, of course, spectacular. Nobody would believe that a man is capable of doing that. But the other example I'll give you, apart from Jindal, is that so-called doctorate that he went and was offered to him in the United States. You know what I say? I say that was orchestrated as well. The man who announced his resignation, he lives in Diego Martin. He's back home now. Resigned, of course, from the helm of that institution that gave him the doctorate. But Biden also attended. So what they did, they orchestrated an arrangement through this doctorate scenario so that Rowley will get that opportunity, because remember, prior to that, he couldn't meet with them at all. He was delayed, of course, in one meeting in California, etc., saying that, of course, he had prostate checkup and all of that. So the arrangement was made because the guy, I can't remember his name now, but I can get that for you. You can look it up. He got, of course, the highest award that the country could give, the Order of Trinidad and Tobago, from Rowley and them. Vice Rowley was the government. So he is now reciprocating. And Rowley having difficulty in convincing the Biden administration or meeting with them on a one-on-one. That was orchestrated in order for him to meet Biden on a one-on-one. And I'm sure most of you who are listening and watching, you would see that Biden said, well, I thought you was a Latin American guy. Of course, meaning that, of course, something fuzzy is something not consistent in terms of behavior with such individuals. And after that, of course, what we saw is that delegations were being invited and, of course, welcoming a delegation from Trinidad through CARICOM, etc., to the United States. That is how that happened. Rowley. Okay, so don't tell me that you must put the CARICOM announcement beyond that. Don't tell me that you don't understand what he did today in that press conference to try to appease the Americans, try to appease the Venezuelans, and try to hoodwink the population of Trinidad and Tobago to put him back in office. Let's go to the lines. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Hey, Lennox, good night. It's Ken.
Yes, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Loud and clear, my friend.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of listened to the program today about Rowley.
Yes.
But I think I sent it for you and I told you to look at it right. But you got it, right?
Good.
I sent it for you early on.
All right, no problem. I'll take a look at it again.
But you got it, right?
Yeah. The pattern of behavior is clear. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to see that, or any blind person like one of the famous entertainers, whether it be one or the other. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. That man is a total rascallion, man.
Yeah, total. Absolutely.
Trying to twist around the...
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what he's doing for a living in the office of Prime Minister in Trinidad. Believing he brighter than everybody else and could survive with that kind of mafia, delinquent, incompetent and collapsing disposition. I mean, it is despicable, it is egregious and stinks to low hell.
He want to say that anything happen down there, anything happen anyway, we can't use the base.
Yeah, that-
Rolly, hold your tail.
Of course. hold the
Rolly,
tail.
you can stop we. Come on, try it.
No, man,
You can't stop we.
well,
Why
well,
are you
I'll
permission
throw
or
up
not?
Peace. That's hogwash.
Permission or not? Come on, stop. You send your army for them.
Yeah, he signed
And this is what
on.
happened.
He signed on because he wants to appease the Americans. So he has two fundamental masters.
He had no.
He wants to
He had no
appease the
choice.
Americans so they won't
He don't
focus
have a choice.
on him. And at the same time, he wants to appease the Venezuelans. He has found himself in a quagmire now, and now he's trying to take it out on the journalists who would have understood what Rowley
Let me
stands
tell
for.
you something. Let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
Biden easy, but he had to deal with somebody as Trump.
Yeah,
And he ain't
it's
gonna
Trump.
play.
It's Trump he has to account to. And Trump and them know him.
He ain't gonna play. You know he quit Trump said, you are
Yes.
fired. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
He never think seconds.
Yeah. Trump,
No.
I'm sure, is awaiting with anxiety for the 20th of January to come.
It's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, ticket
You know what I
time
mean?
bomb, that's right. You see, so that is why all of that
And he
he has behind his mind, because that will offend and of course deepen the animosity that Trump would have had for him and his conduct in the OAS and of course at the United Nations, and of course sending back Venezuelan refugee, 80 of them on a Maduro military plane, and of course cursing and try to downgrade the General Secretary of the Secretary General of the OAS. All of that Rowley did. All of that he did. And then, of
But
course,
he continued.
and if he wasn't satisfied, bring Delcy Rodriguez here on a sanctioned plane. And after that, a shipment coming from Trinidad of fuel ended up in Venezuela. And they want to tell us that it was really destined for Aruba or some other smaller island of Venezuela. Go ahead.
When the new government take over and they can find all this kind of
Of course, all of that has to come up. I
all
will
this
give
thing
them a
can find
dossier.
out all this thing going on.
Yeah, I will give them a dossier.
I mean, Lennox, they will put sanctions on Trinidad, you know.
Yeah, well, I trust that sanctions are applied with a high degree of specificity now. So it's he and his government. He and his government.
Yeah,
right?
And that is not nice. I don't wish that to nobody, you know.
And his lackeys. Yeah.
Because
yeah, we're in a hole already, and we're probably just digging it deeper to, of course, have us drown.
But what are you digging up? You're digging it for Trinidad, you know. He digging it for himself, and he can fall in it.
Yeah, he can fall in it, because I'm sure it's a small nation, so it's easy for the Americans, of course, to be discerning and to be eclectic, and therefore distinguish them as vipers against the people, as opposed, and of course the interests of the United States, as opposed to the people who have been standing by as gullible and as susceptible bystanders, innocent bystanders, as they, of course, engage in evil at the highest level in this country.
But he think that the Trinidad belongs to him.
Yeah, that is what they believe. It's clear from their conduct, but they are criminals. You see,
Eric
gave
that to them.
They know no limit.
I didn't
they
know
have
that.
no limit. Yeah.
Eric William gave that to him then. Eric told that to him.
He said, them claiming that Eric Williams gave it to them. Well, I have often asked the question, who gave it to Eric Williams?
Nobody gave it to Eric Williams.
Yeah, who gave it to Eric Williams? So he thiefed them.
The country belongs to Trinidad and Tobago. People are Trinidad and Tobago.
Thief then. Yeah? What tell him about? Nobody could convince me that I am wrong. You have to come good. That's what
next man calling you, harassing. Next man calling you, harassing you like
is one in a dying breed. One in a dying breed. Because he has a serious chip on his shoulder. He trying to be bright and can't be bright, just as Rowley and they're trying to convince the people, but they cannot convince the people, and therefore they are getting angry. Well, birds of feather flock together. Of course, he is of lesser significance. Let me put it that way.
Well, then you want to know what to do with the money.
Yeah.
All these money that people talk about, we want to know what we do. We want to know what do you read taxpayers' money? It's not yours, Raleigh.
That's right. It's not
If
yours.
what is not yours, that
That's
don't
right.
belong to taxpayer money. What you do with it?
That's right.
That's not yours. The treasury is not yours.
Have to account. Must account.
You just a steward of what it cost.
My children and my grandchildren
money
and
and we use the
their
wisely.
children have to live here, and you want to come like a thief in the night and exhibit that level of rapscallion and total miscreant behavior and believe you could stand up in office because you still hold the office and it has certain, of course, legal parameters that you are exploiting on a daily basis. It must catch up with you. Rowley reminds me of a dog trying to catch his tail. He's spinning wrong and wrong and wrong and could never, of course, achieve that objective. Or put in the Greek sense, you remember, of course, this Sisyphean myth where a leader, a king was banished to pushing a rock up a mountain, up the valley, and as it almost reached the top because his task would have been completed when he get the rock over the crest and down the other side. Well, every time it reached the crest, it rolled back down. That is Rowley. Always trying something and never succeeding because it's never nestled, of course, in sincerity and in good faith and in the interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Always something sinister, in other words.
But let us look at the man character.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at the man character from Tobago.
Yeah.
What I tell you, look at the man character. Look, the man, if a child growing up and stealing stuff from the parent.
Yes.
Right? You know where I'm coming from?
Yes.
And you grew up with that kind of mentality. Right?
Yeah.
You tell me that they're building a hospital in Tobago and taking material.
Yeah, you thief from that by a hospital, you know. With children.
I'm coming at something here.
Go ahead, man. Yeah, let me leave you alone. Yeah.
If a man could do them small thing and he put himself with this kind of finance, what he will do?
Yeah.
Common sense tell you that.
Yeah. He will crush you. He will crush you for crushing.
That man is a total con man.
Yeah.
And a thief.
He'll crush you for crushing.
And I'm not going to know what I'm about to say that.
Yeah.
You believe that the treasury is yours.
Take the money.
And you believe that
he take the money of the SRC for taking its sake, you know, because it's available. He don't want that. He could have displayed a certain amount of compassion, but he wants to make it, as you rightly said, I think, or somebody else, he wants to make it look as though that windfall that they would have gotten, when they start to spend the ill-gotten part of it, they could commingle it, and of course nobody will be the wiser as to the fact that they have a ton load of ill-gotten funds stored wherever. But it's Kamala Prasad, Mr. Sa, and the UNC, and of course, if I have any role to play at all, I could tell them their asses are grasses.
But Mr. Lennox, that's a serious thing, because putting all phone on time, whatever they're doing or whatever they're saying, the main thing what I stressing on, and I said yesterday, I said in the main thing is that money missing. Where's all $1 billion gone? That's a children money. That's a children money. That's your child money. That's your children money.
Glibly and simplistically and nonchalantly, but listen, it ain't really missing. Well, yes, it's missing. But I like what this union leader said, that Roche, he said, listen, well, all right, if you say it ain't missing, well, all right, we ain't saying you thief it. Well, account for it now. He can't account for it, but it ain't missing. I mean, and that's the same nonsense we got today. He's saying that I'm telling all you what to write, but he proceeded to tell them what to write.
No, Trinidad, we gotta be serious with this man.
Of course.
Enough is enough.
Yeah, this is
because you ain't gonna come up with money with all $1 billion and put the country in a tailspin.
Yeah. And we are going to suffer.
The country is in a tailspin. I don't let people understand that.
Yeah, I think increasingly. Well, I know that the majority have. They, of course, the malingerers and those who, of course, are living in denial, and in that state of should I say, illusion and delusion. But the fact of the matter is that rain falls on everybody's house top, and And this kind of bizarre and barbaric and
it's a shame, man.
That is taking place will affect all of us, like the rain. Like the rain will affect all of us, and therefore those of us who are conscious must respond appropriately. All right, my friend.
It's a shame.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. It's a shame that that comes from 2 days around.
15 minutes past 10, so I want to close up.
All right.
All right, my friend. Thanks. Yes, indeed. That's of course our American friend, who of course had a very lengthy discourse. People, so I thought I would have mentioned those things. I really wanted to focus on what we can do or what we have been doing. Tomorrow, of course, we will talk about the whole question. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow is what? Tomorrow is Friday? Yes, tomorrow is Friday, people. So, of course, that's my night off. Sorry about that. But on Saturday, we'll look at, of course, we'll go back to what we have been able to do as a people and what we must do as a people to, of course, save Trinidad and Tobago ultimately. So that is where we must be. Hello? Man, shut up now, boy. You again? You ain't get enough licks, verbal and otherwise. But of course, is he alone, but he wants to make it look as though like the empty vessel making plenty noise and believe that somehow, like Rowley, that kind of approach, somebody might fray them. No. This is intellectual, high intellectual discourse, where of course these fellas cannot reach. But of course, they will try their best to disrupt. People, of course, we have come to the end. I think I have made the case tonight with respect, of course, to the true intent of Dr. Rowley and that, of course, outburst, another outburst that he made, claiming to be press conference and, of course, disclosing information to the population that otherwise would not have been disclosed if the newspaper article. I have the newspaper article. But I will not share it with you tonight. I'll share it with you on Saturday to, of course, continue this, because I'm sure that this will be not a singular, but at the same time, we know that it is part of the propaganda machinery of the PNM that has collapsed, and therefore they must get no light of day in countering and, of course, neutralizing that attempted to stay in office unmeritoriously. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. A final call.
All right, Lennox. Good night. I go hurry up because you're running late.
Yes.
You know, Maduro must call here and cussing here in Spanish.
That's what happened there. Yeah, he had to come out because his backside was exposed. Playing, of course, ostrich. You know, the ostrich bury head inside and believe that everything is honky dory. Well, of course, as I said. If you dig hole to unmeritoriously or illegally or without really and truly justification, these things are going to happen to you, and that is what is happening to him. So, what a tangle when we first set out to deceive. Go ahead.
I watch Lennox. January 20th, the world waiting for January 20th.
Oh, yes, yes,
January 20th?
Yes. Even Bitcoin people and all.
You know what? You know what? On January 20th.
Overnight, yes.
Lennox?
Yes.
You know what's going to take place on January 20th?
Well, a number of things. As
January 20th is Trump in the ass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A number of things as a consequence of that inauguration. You know, in United Kingdom we call it coronation. But Rowley felt that he was coronated. He's some kind of king in Trinidad. Well, of course, his ass is grasses when, of course, Kamala Prasad, Mr. Sunday UNC, gets into office. Is, of course, early commissions of inquiry, but certainly criminal investigations as to the detriment that they have plunged Trinidad and Tobago into. Yeah.
Right. When the Spanish take a picture of that papers and send it for Maduro, he must say, hi caramba, I go kill Rowley.
Yeah. All of that is a mafia entity dealing with, and at the same time paying him our money, $1 million a year, just to say yes. Just to say yes. We get a drop of gas. Just to say yes.
Right there.
Boy?
Evil boy.
Yeah,
You really say
total.
evil can counter. evil could never conquer good.
No, never could conquer,
So we just
conquer good. Good will always prevail, no matter how long. Of course, history is replete with that, whether it be Mussolini, Hitler, you name it. People were saying it's taking too long for Hitler to go, but eventually he had to. Just as, of course, Assad in Syria recently, and Maduro will have to go to eventually. Because he can't last, whether physically, whether administratively, whether regime-wise, cannot, because they are simply built into that is a level of evil that will assure destruction, self-destruction, and the determination of their reign. I have the article that Rowley was so concerned about, but I will play that, of course, on Saturday night. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself, and of course tomorrow night, I am at Spargos as usual, getting my sweat and of course and relaxing after a long week of work. Boy, oh boy, this week was tough. But we have much more to do in the coming weeks. We have, of course, letters of for freedom of information. We have disclosures to make as far as the EBC is concerned, as far as the Ministry of National Security is concerned, as far as the Ministry of Finance is concerned, as far as the Ministry of Agriculture is concerned. Yes, we have, apart from, of course, some state enterprises such as NIDCO, N-I-D-O, N-I-D-C-O, NIDCO, and of course, the other one that, of course, Rowley was so castigating about under Calder Heart. Yes, I'm talking about Udicott. Yes, because he has put that under the prime ministerial wings, and we know the rapscallion, the thief that, of course, is Noel Garcia. And I say so again without fear of contradiction, just as how I say tonight about, of course, Vento, a former judge. They are simply evil to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and must be jettisoned at the earliest opportunity. People, of course, we have come to the end, and let's end, of course, with our some Christmas goodies.
Way off that time, son. Rock on, take it light. That you're walking here tonight, like you're doing Campus Pride. That you're walking here tonight. She's a Martinez. That is your family. This one here is right. That is your family. You see that one day she's Lopez. That is your family. And that one day is Valdez. That is your family. You feel it right? That's why I'm walking here tonight. So God, take it light. That's why I'm walking here tonight. That's why I'm walking here tonight. Baila. That's why I'm walking here tonight. Bring
Mama, what you have there? Break it right away.